Good evening, chaps. How are you? It's Friday again. The sun is shining. The beer is poured. The beer is cold. There's a curry for later. And everything is right in the world, it has to be said. Talking of beer, excuse me while I just blow the froth off the first one. Oh dear, mate. For those who are interested in such matters, this evening I am on the Rheinbacher Pilsner, sort of the middle ranking kind of German lager you can buy from Aldi. I usually either get the Galahad or the Saint Etienne, which are the two other ones there, but I don't know, I just saw this in there this week and I thought I've had that before. I shall have it again. Research. I was basically seeing if it was as nice as I remembered it the first time. Anyway, let's scroll right the way back up to the chat because you chaps have been quite talkative by the looks of it since I launched the stream. Nearly didn't happen this evening. I had one of those moments, where computer says no. One of those kind of moments about 4:00. Basically, this computer was telling me that there are no Wi-Fi networks. Don't be silly. I can't see any Wi-Fi networks. So I had to give it a bit of a stern talking to. Anyway, we're here. Who was first in this evening? Danny Hancock, then Edwin Toon and Johnny Random, Peter Collins, Mike Hurley, Craig Stamans in, as is Cal B and David Evans. Grandpa Joe's in, and scrolling down, Vincent Brennan, Johnny Random, Michael Palmer, Cal B, TS, and Phil, and scrolling. I'm sorry, the mouse wheel's taking a bit of time today. Robster Boy, how are you, Robert? Chip Young, Deco Dude, Gordo Canuck, and Ian Rouse. Deco Dude, did I already say you? Stephen Tatton, and James Hunt, and John Ross, and old Uncle Tom Cobley and all, basically all the usual crew. I think I saw Colin Falcon in there at one point. If I've missed your name, I do apologise. It would be an incredibly boring hour if I was just to sit here and read out everyone's name. Scott Guitars is in. Dan, how are you, mate? And Dave Lewis, and basically all the usual suspects. Really, thank you once again, everyone, for joining me for an hour of completely unscripted, unpredictable beer and chat on a Friday. Around about this point in the stream, I usually start thinking, what the hell am I going to talk about for the next hour? And somehow I always seem to muddle through. I'm sure it'll be the same this week. Before we go any further, there's something I need to tell you. Well, a couple of things I need to tell you. There's, first of all, news about here's this week's gratuitous shot of Blondie. This guitar, my signature guitar, made by the wonderful Dan, who's in the chat there, Scott Guitars. If you want one of those guitars, they are incredibly good value, but they're going to be going up a little bit in price very soon because there's a lot of electricity involved in building one of those guitars. Lathes and sanders and all manner of kind of woodworking, craftsman-y kind of power tools that I can only guess at. Anyway, they all use electricity and in rather large quantities, and we all know what's happened to the price of electricity of late. Basically, the price was $13.50 for that guitar. Or starting at that, you can spec it up beyond that to basically anything you want. But the model that I've got there, spec'd up like that, was $13.50. It is, I'm afraid, going to be going up to $14.99, which is still, for a hand-built artisan instrument, that is, I would say that's the equal of a PRS private stock or a Gibson custom shop. It is still phenomenal good value, but there is unfortunately a price increase on the cards, I'm afraid to say. So that's that little bit of housekeeping out the way. Something else to tell you in a little while. Basically something to celebrate. Well, at least for me, it is anyway. But before we get to that, I want to tell you what's going on the channel this week. Tomorrow, yes. Don't usually do videos on a Saturday, but tomorrow there is one 10 a.m. UK time. You're going to see the unboxing of this guitar. This is the Yamaha Rev Star that I recently bought, the Element model. Just the entry-level model. You're going to see me unboxing and giving my first impressions of that guitar. Then on Sunday, there is... well, I've had to do a little bit of soul searching, it has to be said. I have a number of twin humbucker, set neck, 24 3/4 inch scale length mahogany guitars. And I can't really justify keeping all of them. So in order to keep that Epiphone, which I've decided for the moment I'm going to do, I need to sell something in order to fund the purchase of the next guitar, because as I've said, basically I buy the guitars, I review them. So if I buy a guitar for 400 quid and then get 320 for it when I sell it on, the revenue I make from the videos gets me over the line and gets me into profit on it. But I've decided I'm going to be keeping the Epiphone for now, and it's all basically a question of which guitar am I going to sell, and that is Sunday's video, and we give it a good send-off, put it that way. Then on Monday, as is usual, we're doing a solo analysis, and had a request for this one a little while ago. We're basically doing a little bit of status quo. I can't believe I've only done one status quo solo on the channel, and that was ages ago. I did the solo from Rockin' All Over the World. I think the video was called The First Guitar Solo Played at Live Aid. So we're looking at a status quo solo, which is surprisingly jazzy in a status quo kind of a way. Then Tuesday is a top 5 video, as is, usually the case these days. And this week we are looking at the top 5 most oddball, weird, kind of out there, strange guitars that have ever been made. And basically the way that video is structured, it starts off with a mildly eccentric, breaking these teeth in for the dog. It starts off with a mildly eccentric and works its way through to just the downright weird. So that's Tuesday's video. Wednesday, we're still on a rhythm guitar kick. We've finished the blues rhythm guitar thing now, so we're going to go right the way back to basics on rhythm guitar with basics of strumming. Basics, fundamental strumming technique, something that even, a lot of, I see, experienced guitar players can get wrong. So, it's worth a watch, that one. Oh, Paul Trainer, thank you very much, mate. You're a gentleman and a scholar. I'll have a swig of beer in a moment on you. So that's Wednesday's video. Then on Thursday, we're talking about, let me pick you up and move you over here. The Spark amplifier. Yes, another video about the Spark. Well, it's got to earn its keep. The more videos I do with a piece of kit, the more money it earns me, and the more it kind of basically pays for itself. But no, this is a genuine kind of thing that applies to any amp. I'm just using the Spark in that video as a sort of as an example that you could do with any amp. It's how to dial in the tone that you want on your amp. How to dial in the tone that you want on an amp simulator, like an effects pedal, like one of these Nuix things, which I'm still looking at getting, or anything where you can you've got any kind of amp or surrogate amp to play with, how to dial it in and get the right tone out of it for the guitar that you're playing. So that's Thursday's video, and after Thursday comes Friday, and we know what happens on a Friday. This is what happens on a Friday. Ah, dear me, it's not bad stuff, that. Let's see what I've missed in the chat. Here we go. Let's put that up on screen there. Dan is saying from Scott Guitars, I've kept the increase to a minimum for the JR guitar. All of the builds will now start at £2,000. Well, you know what? I mean, yes, there's always the argument that, you can buy a Squire or a Harley Benton or a Pacifica or something for a tenth of that, and that is true. In exactly the same way as, you can buy, a Timex or a Casio watch that will tell the time just as well as, a Rolex. They do different things. When you're buying a sort of bespoke, custom built guitar like that, it's a different beast from buying an affordable or entry level guitar. And I still think that £2,000 for something that is hand built, custom made to order, especially for you, that's the guitar that's going to last you the rest of your lifetime. That's consider how much a professional concert pianist has to pay for a Steinway grand, or a cellist or a violin player would have to pay for a Stradivarius or something like that. It's that kind of perspective that you need to bring to the table. Let's scroll through the chat, see what you've all been talking about, because one of the things that I genuinely love about this is the fact that it's not just me sitting here and blethering to you lads and lasses, if there are any there. It's you all just have this little kind of conversations going on between each other, and it's like being in a pub, and I'm sort of if I could kind of draw a pint for you and keep order, then I would be kind of the landlord, I guess. Let's have a look what Gordo Canuck saying. Hi, John, being querying the choir here. If anyone has any experience with the Moore's GPRS S800 smart guitar, any thoughts? No, I mean, if I played one, you would have known about it on the channel. It's sort of the next kind of generation up from the Variax, isn't it? That's my understanding of it. It's a guitar that does kind of not just different guitar sims, but different amp sims as well. Yeah, it's an interesting concept. A lot of the time, I mean, I remember when the very first Line 6 product that I heard of, it might not have been the very first Line 6 product, but the first Line 6 product that I ever heard of was back in the 90s. It wasn't the Pod, it was the, I think it was the Axis. I think it was spelled AXSYS, Axis amp, that was like a combo that could apparently kind of sound like every other amp on the planet. And all of the marketing and everything promised that it really, really did sound like every other amp on the planet if you use this setting and that setting, and it didn't. So I don't know. Maybe Moors have got that technology dialed in and hit the ground running and everything just right from the off. But usually it seems to be the case that it takes one company to start the ball rolling, and then other companies kind of jump on the bandwagon, and gradually through a process of evolution, the technology improves and it eventually gets there. Like now with amp modeling. I think, for instance, the Positive Grid stuff that I use, the bias amp, is incredibly authentic sounding. But the amp modelers of the late 90s just weren't really. Excuse me, I need to take a drag on me vape, and I need to pour myself another beer. Yeah, Billy Paul there is saying, never got a usable sound out of a Line 6 pod. I'm with you on that, mate. The Line 6 pod, that original kidney bean shaped thing, it wasn't just kind of, amateur and semi-pro musicians who were using it and swearing by it and saying what a great piece of kit it was. I remember reading an interview with Todd Rundgren, who knows a thing or two about getting a good guitar tone, and he was absolutely squeaking with delight about what a great piece of kit it was and how he could get all of these fantastic tones that were just like that. And then you just like the amps he'd used in years of flake, everyone. But then you'd have the other side of the coin, like Billy and like me. I could never get a decent clean sound out of a pod. It didn't matter whether I was using a Strat, a humbucker equipped guitar, whatever. In order for it to not kind of start clipping in a very unpleasant, digital, nasty kind of a way, I used to have like the gain on whatever amp setting I was using turned right the way down to the point where it was unusably quiet. And then other people just seem to kind of fly with it. I don't know. I've never been a fan of Line 6 stuff, to be honest. I've always found it a bit cold and digital sounding, even when it was producing a tone that is usable, unlike the pod. That said, some of the later stuff I've never tried. I haven't tried the Pod Go. I haven't tried the Helix, just because I have no interest in them because of previous bad experiences with Line 6 gear. Yes, Mark. Todd Rundgren played the motorbike sounds on Bat Out of Hell. If you've ever seen that that TV show, Classic Albums, really well worth watching. If you can catch the one about the Bat Out of Hell album, where what they do on these shows, I'm sure you're familiar with this, but for anybody who isn't, they basically get the master tapes and they basically do what Rick Beato does on What Makes This Song Great, where they kind of solo the tracks and say, oh, and this is what this sounds like, and this is what the drum part sounds like on its own, and this is what the bass part sounds. That motorcycle guitar thing, it's just Todd Rundgren, and this is well before the days of locking tremolos. He's just doing it with the tremolo arm on a Strat, on a non-locking tremolo, and all of those kind of motorcycle noises, and then he comes out of that into that blistering guitar solo. One take. It's incredible, absolutely gobsmacking, and the fact that he still had a guitar that was in tune after all that sort of dive bombing stuff that he did was just remarkable, I think. Yes, Colin's there asking Dan from Scott Guitars about his artist guitar. I think that's a bit of a sore point with Dan at the moment. He sent me an email today, and he's not a happy camper on that. What are you saying there, Craig? I had a Line 6 combo when they first came out because it got rave reviews, but after 6 months, I sold it and got a Mesa Boogie. Yeah, well, enough said, mate, enough said. What's the e-cig flavour? Hang on, what am I on? I usually go between two different flavours. This, don't know if you can read that. No, it won't come into focus. It is called Cafe Tobacco. It's basically sort of a strong coffee with pipe tobacco overtones, and it's usually either that or Irish coffee that I go for. I'm into the coffee flavoured ones at the moment. Dave Lewis is saying he's got a Line 6 DL4 delay model and it's brilliant. Well, as I always say, your mileage may vary. It's just all I can offer are opinions based upon my experience, and my experience may be based on my cack-handed approach to using the equipment, it has to be said. But I've just never found Line 6 stuff to be to my liking, let's put it that way. William F's on Blackcurrant Menthol. What else are we missing? Steve Howe also use a Line 6 Variax with Yes for a while. Yeah, I had Peter, the guy who built me this, let me point you up there, this lovely offset guitar There's some words that you never thought you'd hear coming from my mouth. Lovely offset guitar, but it is a really nice guitar. That he loaned me the Line 6 Variax, one of the first generation ones, and I did a couple of videos on it, you may recall, a little while ago, and that was really, really good. Some of the sounds in it were a bit, okay, yeah, that sounds a bit sort of Toy Town plasticky, but a lot of them, enough of them to make it worth having one, were like really properly kind of authentic. You know, the thing with the main drawback I find with that Variax guitar is, and this is just a personal thing for me, it reinforces for me how different the feel of different guitars are. A Telecaster feels very different to a Les Paul. A Les Paul feels very different to a Strat, and they both feel very different to a Telecaster. And that informs how you play on them. And when all of those differences are just kind of not there, because it's basically the same platform of a kind of guitar that you're playing on, that's producing all of these different sounds, then you know it kind of makes it feel a bit weird, or it did for me anyway. I'm sure it's something that you could adapt to, and maybe you know some people don't even notice, but I did. Oh dear me, EM is saying here stateside, Line 6 seem a bit weak on customer support. I'll leave it at that. It sounds, mate, like you've got a story to tell on that one. You know, but you know we've all had bad customer service. I have right. Here's my theory: how we could improve customer service across the whole industry. Okay, not just the guitar industry, but just across industry in general. Right? We ban the term customer service. That's it. We just ban that term customer service, because when do you call up customer service? It's when you need to complain. That's usually the case when something isn't working and you want to shout at somebody and get some kind of recompense. That's when you call up customer service. So here's what you do. Let me put it this way. When I come to power, what a rosy future that'll be for everyone. When I come to power, we're going to ban the term customer service, and we're going to make it just a complaints department. So can you imagine the optics of that? On the news today, it's Amalgamated Durables PLC are announcing the 1,000 new jobs as they open a new complaints department in Fulchester. Yeah, it's just not good optics for a company, is it? They don't want to have a massive complaints department. So maybe that would improve the kind of efficiency and of the products and services that they provide. It's just a thought. I'm just saying. Nancy Davis is asking, are locking tuners worth the money, worth the extra money? In my opinion, yes, and then again, no. I don't find they improve tuning stability. I've done a couple of videos on it now. I have a particular way of putting the strings on, which is apparently the same way that Dave Honorato, Rick Beato and Rhett Schulzmate does it, which basically turns any tuner into a locking tuner, because the string locks itself in tune. And I did a video years ago where I basically timed two, to all intents and purposes, identical guitars, one with non-locking tuners, one with locking tuners. When I say identical, both fixed bridge, 25.5-inch scale length guitars. Okay, one had locking tuners, one had non-locking tuners, and the difference between, in terms of getting the old strings off, the new strings on, stretching them in, getting them stable, and kind of staying in tune. For both guitars, it took about 8 minutes. There was a few seconds either way. I can't really remember which guitar came out ahead by a couple of seconds, but there wasn't a lot in it. It was within the margin of error, shall we say. So, locking tuners, you can get the strings on a lot quicker, yes, but you've still got to stretch them in. And for some reason, stretching the strings in on some brands of locking tuners seems to take longer than my particular method of tying the string off on the headstock. So in that regard, locking tuners, they're not worth it. But then again, I've got, how many guitars with locking tuners? My signature guitar's got locking tuners. I've got the Nashville Telly with locking tuners. That Harley Benton that you can probably just see back there behind me, that's now got locking tuners. And there is something of a convenience factor about just kind of poke the string through, pull it tight, tighten it up, and the string is on. So I don't know. When I'm playing a guitar with locking tuners, when I'm restringing a guitar with locking tuners, I always think, yeah, this is easy and convenient. And then when I'm playing restringing a guitar that doesn't have them, I always think, well, yeah, I don't really need them because this guitar, it's so I flip and flop on them, to be honest with you. There you go. Sorry, I'm getting splinters in my bum from sitting on the fence here, aren't I? Where are we? Yeah, that's a good point there, Phil. Where are we? Don't you just hate it when you click on something and it moves? Let's put you up on screen. Never had any bother with tuners themselves. For me, it's always been the nut or something. Indeed, yeah. I mean, I have had it explained to me by people who know more about physics than I do that the worm gear in a standard tuner it's apparently, according to some people, don't quote me, this is what I've been told, that the worm gear is impossible to slip. It can't slip. So if you've got tuning instability on your guitar, you'll blame your tuners, but it's more likely to be some issue with the nut. And I can kind of see that, because it's just a natural snagging point for the strings, isn't it? David Evans is saying Floyd rows are useful for string breakage, provided there's plenty of winds on the machine heads. Yeah. Yes. Well, at some point, you were bound to hear something positive about Floyd Rose tremolos. It had to happen at some point. It didn't come from my lips, but there you go. Somebody likes them. I don't. I may have mentioned that. Anyway, I have some news to share with you, chaps. I got a text message today, and this is the reason why I will be getting very drunk this evening, I should imagine. I shall be celebrating. This text message from Ravenscar Surgery, which is my GP, family doctor's surgery. The result of your recent test is normal. No further action is needed at this stage. I went for a PSA test on Thursday, and I've just had the text today, this afternoon, confirming the fact that I am now officially cancer-free. One simple little text message, 2 sentences, and it is the best news I've had since I don't know how long. I'll be honest with you, it wasn't really preying on my mind. I had the cancer treatment, and I seemed to come through that unscathed, and I was told before the treatment by the consultant that there was no way that it could not work. But just to have it there in black and white, I didn't really feel like I was being weighed down by it. But I'll be honest with you, it does feel like a massive, massive weight has been lifted. And I am just really, it's like, okay, I can take my finger off the pause button now and start thinking about, things for the future and stuff. And I hadn't really kind of thought that I wasn't doing that. But it's ridiculous how how much that has been a big relief to me. And yeah, all I can say is that if you are a chap and you have an age that begins with a number 5, then please, please, please go and get yourself checked out. Go and get a PSA blood test done, prostate-specific antigen, and don't be scared of it. It's even if the result comes back with a reading that you don't want. I'm living proof that if you catch it early enough, then the treatment is an absolute breeze, a doddle. It's nothing to be scared of, and then it's done and it's dusted, and you don't have that kind of thing hanging over you. So please, chaps, go and get yourselves checked out if you haven't already. Anyway, moving on, let's get the conversation back to oh, thank you, Robster Boy, you're a gentleman, mate. Oh, Budget Guitar Show, Johnny, how are you, mate? Didn't see you sneaking in there. It's my wife's birthday today, so when we go out later, I'll have a few. I'll have a few for you. I shall be having quite a few for myself later, believe me. And where are we? Let's see what we've missed. So live long and be happy. So happy for you, John. Well, thank you very much, Gordo. You're a gentleman. And Grandpa Joe is saying, congratulations, John. Happy for you and the family. You pushed me over the edge. My PSA 1.4. Thank you. Well, I'm glad to hear it, mate. I'm told that the number you want is below 3. But I've been told by other people that there's a little bit of leeway in that. But, once again, a massive heartfelt thank you to all of the staff at James Cook University Hospital in Middlesbrough, who were just absolutely fantastic about the whole thing. And, they took the scariness out of it, and it was the treatment was just, dare I say it, mundane. It wasn't, you didn't feel like you were going for anything more than just a routine checkup when you were going for it. Fantastic. Anyway, let's change the subject. Let's see what I've been missing in the chat. Let's have a look. Excuse me, talk amongst yourselves while I look in the chat. Lots of people congratulating me. Well, thank you everyone so much. What are you saying, Colin? Anyone suffered with a dead-sounding low E string? Dead as in sounds like it's being palm muted. Got it happening on 3 guitars. I do notice that occasionally, and that is usually my guitar's way of saying, can I have a new set of strings, please? If it's just happening on one guitar, then, I would suspect, is it something to do with where the string is vibrating from, either the nut at one end of the string or the bridge at the other end of the string? If it's happening across multiple guitars, then I would, my background in electronics tends to kind of, my fault finding kind of brain kicks in, and it makes me start thinking of, okay, so what are you plugging it into? And what cables are you using? What is the amplifier? What's going on at when it leaves the guitar? I don't think it's likely that 3 different guitars would suddenly develop the same fault of the same kind of of the same nature all simultaneously. That will be my advice, Colin. I've never had that kind of thing happen beyond needing new strings, but so just check the amp side of the equation, really. budget guitar showing soon. Have you seen the Harley Benton Moss Wright clones? Thankfully not, mate. It's I think we all know my opinion on Moss Wright guitars. It's as I said in the video when I was talking about guitars that make me go, nah. Moss Wright guitars, it's imagine if you described a Stratocaster to somebody who'd never seen a Stratocaster, and then they built a Stratocaster in the dark when they were drunk with their feet, then you would have a Moss Wright guitar. I don't know. They may be absolutely idyllic and angelic to play. They may sound absolutely glorious and wonderful, but dear me, they've got looks that only a mother could love. They're just not my cup of tea at all, it has to be said. Danny Hancock is saying, what is a good online lesson setup as a student? If you're looking for setup tips, then there are two channels that I would definitely recommend. Dave's World of Fun Stuff, Canadian guitar technician and luthier. Apart from anything else, you'll probably kind of belly laugh your way through a lot of his videos, because he's one of these guys who is just really funny but doesn't realize he's being funny, he's got a bit of the grouchy, grumpy old man about him, and just the way he describes things when that kind of need fixing, or things that aren't gooched, as he calls it. He's a really funny guy, and he's got millions of pearls of wisdom. I've just thought of another one as well. Texas Toast Guitars. They're a great channel. They're a guitar company that have their own YouTube channel, and their stuff is their channel is full of setup tips and so on and so forth. As I'm sure you know, Crimson Guitars, loads of setup tips and stuff on there. So those would be the first three places I would go and look for setup tips, and just have a YouTube search for Trevor Deeks. There's another good one. He's got a really, really unique way of doing fret leveling and crowning. He uses this basically a technique called a banana, which is like the katana, not the katana amp, but there was a fret leveling tool came out a few years ago called the katana, and he's got his own spin on that, which is actually I would say better than the katana was, and he gets good results with it. And again, lots of good tips on setups from there. So Trevor Deeks. I'll tell you why I'm saying Trevor Deeks. Trevor Deeks is a lad I was at school with. I do apologise. It's not Trevor Deeks. It's Sam Deeks. What an idiot. There's a flashback for you. I'm talking about a lad I was at school with. The only other person I know that's got the surname Deeks, Sam Deeks. And Crimson Guitars, Texas Toast Guitars, and Dave's World of Fun Stuff. Between those four channels, you can find everything that you need to know about doing guitar setups there. Hope that helps. Okay, that pedal show did a thing on setups. Very good. I should watch their stuff more often, actually, but the reason I don't is because their videos tend to be a bit long. Same as Dave Simpson. I don't watch much of his stuff these days, basically because I'll look, Dave's got a new video out. Oh, damn it, it's 45 minutes long. I don't have 45 minutes to sit and watch a YouTube video or a TV show or listen to an album or anything. It's... And when there's something I need to pay attention to, it's not like I like to pay attention. I don't like to have it on in the background while I'm doing other things. It's like there's some music that I need to listen to for a chap who's in the chat tonight. I'm not going to give too much away because he's going to be on the channel shortly, and we're going to be doing a bit of back and forth and a bit of an interview. And I want to give the music the attention it deserves, and not just kind of have it on as kind of background music wallpaper while I'm, kind of busy doing other things. So I'm carving out some time this weekend, mate. You know who you are, to listen to your stuff, and then we'll have a chat about getting you on for a bit of a chat. John Sir has posted some good stuff on setups. I don't think I've ever seen his channel, to be honest with you. Right. I'm not saying the pedal show is too long, mate. I'm just saying that, because long form videos have their place. It's just that the hours I work, the hours I sit in front of this webcam blethering away to, doing the old, hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition, doing that sort of stuff, or tabbing solos out, or, kind of creating video content, or doing Zoom calls with students or something. I'm sat here from about 7:30 most mornings till 8 p.m. on an evening. And by that time, it's just, I'm kind of utterly frazzled. And I just need to sit down in front of an episode of something mindless on the TV where I don't have to pay attention to it, and drink a couple of beers and then go and, kind of snore, apparently. So I'm told. Anyway. Let's see what I'm missing. Let's have a look. Rex is in. Have you ever tried a Framus Earl Slick signature guitar? My producing partner Andy Kern picked up a Korean-made version. Really nice neck retro sound. I haven't, Rex. I'll be honest with you. They are on my to-do list. I don't know about the Framus Earl Slick guitar, but I keep getting people saying, when are you going to check out a Slick guitar? And the only thing that's put me off them so far is there's always been something else that I've needed to kind of get my hands on and do before that. And, all of those Slick guitars, they're all kind of relict and a bit sort of, that sort of phony aging kind of look about them, which, as you may know, isn't my favourite look. But, I will get round to doing them at some point. Johnny Love, let's put you up on screen because this is a great tip. I remember train, tune, relief, action, intonation, noodle, then repeat if necessary. The order is important and this has always helped me. I think I first heard it in a Fender video. I believe I first heard that. I mean, I tend to usually do it in that order, but the first time I heard that acronym, train, was on one of Mike's videos, China Guitar Mike, who I hope you're enjoying your holiday at the moment, Mike, if you're watching this either now or on catch up. So, that's, so you tune the guitar, then you check the neck relief, then you check the action, then the intonation, and then you have a bit of a noodle and see how it goes, and then, kind of rinse and repeat, basically. That's the order that you do these things in is important, because if you set the action before you do the neck relief, then you're only going to have to do the action again after you've done the neck relief. It just makes sense to do it in that correct order. What are you saying there, Colin? The shipping from the USA on Slick guitars is almost as much as the cost of the guitar. It is that, but I think I'm just kind of dragging back some deep and distant memories from, when I used to do those videos where it was, if you're in the market for a Telecaster or a Les Paul Jr. or something and you don't want the obvious choice, then check out these alternatives. Remember those videos I used to do? I seem to remember I found on one of those videos a UK supplier for Slick guitars, I think. I may be wrong, but that's the way I'm remembering it. But, memory can be a fallible thing. I can't think why. Excuse me, chaps, just talk amongst yourselves while I top up with some more lubrication. Everybody get ready with your fingers over the F, the L, the A, the K and the E buttons on your keyboard. Here we go. Can I produce a decent flake for you this evening? It has to be said this Rheinbacher is remarkably non-flake-like. These are 500ml cans, which is just... I always think 500ml is a pint with a head. You know, you try pouring a pint can into a pint glass, and you end up... Oh dear me! I think we're just going to get it in without any spillage. Oh no, it's going over the edge. Never mind. The dog will lick that up later. Anyway, David Evans, it's snowing. Well, I hate to be smug, mate, but we've got bright blue skies and sunshine here. Mind you, it is absolutely Baltic cold outside. It has to be said. You know, it's you look outside, you think, oh, nice spring day, and then you go out, and of course we're about 150, 200 yards from the North Sea, and you get that wind coming in, you know. And let's not forget the North Sea; it's the Arctic Ocean when it's up the way a bit and round the corner, and the wind coming in off there, it will slice you in two a lot of the time. Dave Lewis is saying, is that lager sugar-free? Well, I haven't put any sugar in it, so yes, I suppose it must be. I don't know. It's a Pilsner lager, which apparently Pilsner, it says here, brewed in accordance with the German purity law. Sounds a bit suspect, that, doesn't it? You know, but I honestly don't know. It's beer. And on a Friday night, I don't really care too much about whether, you know, it's sugar-free or not. I live a sugar-free existence from Saturday morning through till Friday at 5 p.m. So I think, you know, I don't have sugar in me coffee. I don't have, you know, once upon a time, every time I had a cup of coffee with sugar in it, it would be accompanied by a few chocolate hobnobs for dunking, and there would be, you know, crunchy nut cornflakes or something like that for breakfast, and there would be, you know, there would always be a tub of Haagen-Dazs or something like that in the freezer to have a go at, and all of that is gone these days. So, you know, I don't even drink fizzy pop anymore because of the sugar in it. Not because I'm on anti-sugar kick or anything like that. Doctor's orders, basically. So my one concession to unhealthy living is a beer and a curry on a Friday, or several beers and a curry on a Friday. So there you go. Rob Ball saying, better explain hobnobs to the colonials. Right. Hobnobs, they are a biscuit, or as you might say, a cookie, which is it's like a really kind of coarse, oaty kind of crunchy kind of cookie, and the ones you want are the ones that come with a layer of chocolate on them as well, and they are absolutely divine. You know, you can dunk them into a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, and it melts the chocolate a little bit, and you know, I could eat just basically I could eat my way through a whole packet of those things, or I could have done it once upon a time. Sledge 1960, so great to hear good news, mate. Steve Hogg at DME, have you got to be a good boy with the ale now? I'm so sorry to hear that, mate. I enjoy being a bad boy with the ale, but not every day. What's that, mate? I asked John about upgrading a guitar, and he talks about hobnobs. Sorry, I didn't see your question about upgrading a guitar. Let me scroll back up through the chat and see where that was. Christopher Colling, let's have a look for your question, mate. This is it. If I do apologise if I miss your questions and comments. I'm so busy kind of blethering and talking that I often miss people who are talking to me, and I can either spend the whole hour kind of reading the chat, or I can spend the time, which would be very boring for you. Sorry, I can't find your comment, mate. But I do apologise. Yeah, when in all the videos when I say, and don't forget the live stream every Friday where we talk about music and guitars and whatever else may crop up. Well, a lot of the time on these live streams, it does kind of fall into the category of whatever else might crop up. Chip Young's never understood dunking chocolate biscuits. Oh, it's just, well, I've never understood Brussels sprouts, so there you go. Oh, thank you very much, Anton. Don't apologise, John. We all love the informal and enlightening nature of this live stream. Don't change a thing. Enlightening. You flatter me. Oh, what are you saying there, Christopher? John, I'm thinking of buying a cheap Les Paul guitar with the aim of learning how to do some upgrading and maintenance. What would you suggest guitar-wise and tools, etc.? Here it is, John, mate. Okay, thank you, mate. Right. A cheap Les Paul to do some upgrades and setups and maintenance and stuff. Right. I'm going to get called a shill here for certain, but, if you're wanting a guitar that follows the Les Paul recipe and you're on a tight budget and you don't want to sink a lot of money into it because it's a guitar that you're going to be kind of practicing maintenance skills on, Harley Benton, there, I've said it. There are better Les Paul copies around. Okay, I don't deny that. But if you're wanting something that has a set neck, that has decent kind of hardware and stuff like this one here, Peter, who loaned me this one, still hasn't been and picked it up. This SC DLX. Peter, if you're watching, mate, I need the space. Come and grab your guitar. So that would be the guitar. In terms of what tools you need, well, you will need one of these, a notched straight edge. This is for basically checking that the neck is straight. When you're going to do a fret level and crown, you need the neck to be absolutely straight. Take the strings off the notches for the frets. You've got one side that's Fender scale length and another side that's Gibson scale length. You need the neck to be absolutely straight. How do you get it straight? Well, with an Allen key or a socket wrench. So get yourself a decent set of good quality Allen keys that aren't going to kind of round off or anything like that, and a decent kind of set of socket wrenches. Then it's all basically down to you'll need a fret rocker. Let me get my toolbox out and show you these things. You're going to need a fret rocker. He said, digging through his toolbox. One of these things, this checks for level frets. You're going to need some radius gauges. These things here for checking the radius of the bridge. Not on a Les Paul style guitar though. So, but for setting in any kind of guitar where you've got individually adjustable height bridge saddles, you need radius gauges to set the bridge to the same radius as the neck. You're going to need a fret leveling file. This is the one I use. I've had it years. It's always served me well. You're going to need a fret crowning file, one of these. This is the one that basically, after you've leveled the frets, this puts the kind of dome back on the top of them again. You're also going to need one of these, which is a fret end file. It looks like a three-cornered file, but you've basically got a safe edge down here, and you must always make sure that that is facing the wood, so that you're not, you're not getting like an abrasive corner onto the fretboard. And then you could, for kind of bringing the frets up to a shine, you could go through all the grades of sandpaper, but I prefer these things. These are Crimson Guitars fret erasers. As you can see, they're well used, and they're great for bringing your frets up to a lovely shine. You've got coarse, medium, fine, and super fine grades of those. Go through those. Your frets will thank you for them. You will have really highly polished frets. So those are the tools that I use. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I might have missed. No, that's about it. There you go. And by the time you've bought the guitar and you bought a set of tools like that, you're probably looking, say you buy a Harley Benton Les Paul copy for 200 quid. By the time you bought all the various tools, being generous, stick another 100 quid on there. A set of nut files as well, actually, which I haven't got at the moment, but a decent set of nut files. Don't buy the cheap ones. Buy a decent set of nut files. Again, probably Crimson Guitars ones are the best ones to get, and that'll set you back about 100 quid. But it's a set of files that'll last you, years and years and years. That's what I would recommend. Now, I hope that was a full enough answer for you, mate. Let's see what I missed while I've... John's been buying off Chris Allsop. Yes, I did. That's where I got both my fret files from, or all three of my fret files. What have I missed? You can get a much cheaper Harley Benton Les Paul than that one, John. Yeah, I know. It's just that was the one that was closest to hand. So that's why I picked that one up. I had a Harley Benton Les Paul. I can't tell you which one it was. Well, I could, but that would give away the answer to a contest that's going to be happening on the channel in the next few weeks. I will tell you more about that as the weeks go on. But there's going to be a bit of a giveaway going on where somebody's going to be getting a rather nice guitar. Watch this space for more details, and I can't kind of tell you too much about that because it would be like spoiling the outcome of a few videos. But basically, there's going to be a bit of a giveaway going on. But yeah, I mean, I've had Harley Benton Les Pauls that cost less than that SC DLX there. Where are we? Dash Shaff is saying, I use feeler gauges a lot when setting up, especially when making a nut. Yeah, good suggestion, mate. A set of feeler gauges. Reverse Reverbs is saying, did you get the Rev Star? You must have missed the beginning of the live stream, mate. Yes, I did. Here it is. And the unboxing is going to be happening. Well, it's already happened, but you're going to see it happening at 10 a.m. UK time tomorrow morning. And that, chaps, takes us to almost an hour, and I'm getting a bit hungry, and there's a curry turning up soon. So I'm going to take this opportunity to say thank you once again, everyone, for turning up and watching a fat, bald northern gobshite talk bollocks for an hour. It has been an absolute blast, as it always is, and I will keep on doing it until you're sick of me. But for now, time, gentlemen, please.